for general information, the zoning board of adjustment has 5 voting members. Alternates may participate during the testimony and are permitted to ask questions as many as other members of the public. Anyone wishing to speak during the portions of the hearing may open. The hearing open to the public must be recognized by the chair and should state their name and address for the record. Once the testimony phase is closed, only the 5 voting members will participate in the deliberations and decision-making process. That's important. Okay, so when we're talking. Anyhow, a regular member is absent. If a regular member is absent or recuses themselves in the case, the chair will appoint an alternate to serve in their place. And tonight, that's exactly what we have. Phil Stenerson will not be here tonight, so I've got Terry Fogg sitting in for Phil Stenerson. Myself, George Carmichael, chair, will be sitting on the case. Marcia Breckenridge, vice chair. Ross Thermos and Marty Kula, voting members for tonight. Okay? Mm-hmm. Folks okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. So, is there any reason, or are there any recusals? Not heard. Where was this posted?
This was posted on the top bulletin board, town hall, the bottom bulletin board, and we now have letter transcript and at the post office.
Thank you. Okay, so for tonight, we're hearing case number 2025-015. A variance is being requested from Article 13, Section E of the written zoning ordinance to permit construction of a single-family dwelling on a minimum of 2-acre lot having less than the minimum frontage located on map 6, lot 50-9, in the residential agricultural district located at 32 McGregor Lane, owned by Kimberly Nareski. And I will also mention that Ms. Nareski had been in front of the board before. Do we know what month that was? I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Anyhow, Ms. Nareski was here for Article 5, Section B, which was granted on that date prior. So it's not that important. We already did that. So who will read the ordinance? Are you ready? Somebody? I'll read it. Okay.
Article 13. Zoning ordinance pertaining E. Only a single-family dwelling or accessory structures may be erected on a lot having less than the minimum requirements for frontage and area provided such lot was a lot of record at the time of adoption of this ordinance, March 14th, 1961, or subsequently amended. However, yard requirements of Article IV or 4 for residential district, Article D, residential agricultural district, and Article B1, village district must comply with whichever pertains. This requirement does not apply to Article B11(7). College district, Article 8, commercial district, Article 9, business light industry district.
Thank you. And one of the articles you mentioned was Article 5, which is Section B. So we've already granted you relief on that. So you're up. Who is going to be speaking to this?
Okay.
Okay. You can make it brief if you want. You can make it as long as you want. Right here.
Okay, I'll read what I have. If I get the names wrong, because I took some stuff off the minutes. I put, after the last variance meeting, my daughter and I felt that we were approved for the variance to move forward to the subdivision. Mr. Carmichael clarified that I could use the right of way to create an access to a new single-family home. And if the access did not work out, I would plan to create a shared driveway to have access to the road. Mr. Stenerson recommended If the variance was approved to divide the lot to provide at least 50 foot of frontage for each property, since frontage needs to be present even if not used. He elaborated in the dividing that a right to pass or repass / easement would need to be present for future landowners. The board voted 5-0 in favor of the variance was approved. So we're back, hoping that the variance, Article 13, Section E, to permit construction of a single-family dwelling on a minimum 2-acre lot having less than minimum frontage, which was approved, will be approved today.
Okay, let me add something, because this is somewhat an embarrassment to the town, in my personal opinion. Because you were steered towards the original relief, it's the only relief you needed by somebody in the planning board office. And it turned out to be, you needed something else. So we're here to fix that if we can, okay? I'm sorry we had to drag you through this. The other, in their defense, quite frankly, the real issue that the town of Ringe has is that we really need a code enforcement person or a code person. Because that's usually in our checklist we have, has this been reviewed by the code enforcement? It literally says that. And we always have to say no. So they're really supposed to be the subject matter experts in these things, and we just don't have them. So we're working towards that. So yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through all of this. But okay, with that said, does anybody have any questions? Comments?
I have a suggestion that maybe she'd want to be the code enforcement officer.
How much is that?
Not enough.
Quadruple my salary.
Anybody else?
I think it's very straight.
Well, let me speak to that a little bit, because we did get some feedback from the Conservation Commission. And basically what they were saying is that the plans it was difficult for them to make any comments on this case, because they couldn't tell if or where, if there were any wetlands. And so based on that comment, I might ask you, do you know of any wetlands in the area that you're building this home, or?
Not for the, it seems like most of the land is not, it's on the edges back where the snowmobile trail runs by Market Basket, the very edges.
I think it's very hilly and ledgy.
Yeah, they're more ledgy,
Yeah,
hilly than,
this is an image that
Yeah.
you sent over, which I thought was very helpful.
Yeah.
It shows it's pretty high
it's
up.
so level, except up here's a little, but it's ledgy up here, but see where the trees are, that's probably back to the end, where the snowmobile trail is. That is the only way, because they didn't clear there.
Okay.
He
So
said it was
are you
just,
basically saying that that you don't know where, to your knowledge, you're on
right,
particular?
right,
Marty, the septic system, that area will be determined by the plan, right? Whether or not it works. So as far as wetlands are concerned.
And that's gonna meet all of our requirements.
Yeah. Okay. That's the question I had. I think it was important that we touch on that topic because of the feedback we got from the Conservation Commission. We've asked for their opinions, and I think that since they gave us that concern, or they voiced that concern, that we should at least talk about it. So, anybody else? Do we have a motion?
I'll move we accept the,
We gotta go into deliberation.
I move that we go into deliberation.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
5-0. And, anything else anybody wants to add? Or do we have a motion? Okay,
I don't know.
well, we're in deliberation.
Thoughts?
No, we're in deliberation. Thank you. No, I mentioned that at the beginning. Do we want to go back, is there a motion to go out of deliberation to address maybe any other questions that other people might have?
I don't know, people who just arrived are butters or have some concern.
Yes, they are.
Okay, so we're a little bit late, and that's the only case we're
Yeah.
hearing tonight, so do we have a motion? Let's,
I move that we go out of deliberation to take
I
testimony from
agree. I'll
Justin.
second that. All in favor? Okay. So we asked if there were any other questions from anybody else in the audience. Obviously, all we have is the applicants here. And then we made a motion. I mean, we asked if anybody on the board had any questions, and we made a motion to go into deliberation. We're now back out of deliberation, and I'll ask the question again. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this case?
So we don't,
State your
we don't
name.
know, yeah, I'm Dee Burns, I'm in Hunter, at 92 Hunter Road. And we just came to,
We just came just to the civic responsibility.
Okay, now are you in support of, or are you against it, or?
no, we're in support of
We're in
it.
support.
Okay, all right. We just want to make sure that we can
Yes.
capture everything from everybody, make sure that we do our job.
Yeah, we're happy to go into the house there.
It's one of our concerns is if the butters have something to say, that we listen.
Well, we do have one concern, it's just our wet area. We have a wetland on our driveway, and we don't want anything to disrupt the flow of water. So that they had proposed maybe having a driveway go through where the water runoff goes from where our wetland is. So last time they had come before the board, I had made a response, concerning that. So that's why I'm here, just to make sure I don't.
And I recall that the last time.
Right.
He said that if the engineer would look at that spot and you can always modify that so the water keeps flowing through the property. Because there's half a road already on it. It's because the people on both
And
sides.
you're okay with working with them to make sure that you address their concerns about the flow of water?
And if we decide to put a road through there, and the engineer said this is the plan for putting the big round pipes in, that the water and the gravel can still flow through to the state property. We're willing, we're not gonna sit there and block it, if that's a choice, if
Well, that's
he
a
says
concern.
it's not a
That's their
choice,
concern,
right?
yeah.
But everywhere they put the round pipes and, that's it. And gravel so the water flows through.
Well, I just think your butters are just making sure that they're heard, that
Right.
it's followed through.
Right.
That's-
If we do it, it's gonna be done right. It ain't gonna be,
I understand.
and you guys are gonna have to, planning board has to approve all that, or the engineer, and he's
That'll
gonna,
happen
yeah.
then. Once you get beyond the two reviews.
So I'll come back again.
Go ahead, you have your hand up
So
on the back.
what we were looking for is maybe an environmental study, if that would be part of this process. The water comes from across the street where there is actually a ponding swamp over at the Romano's property, Ricky Romano's property. I don't know if you are familiar with Romano Ave, but so if you're going down Hunt Hill Road, Romano Ave's on the left across from our property, and there is a pond. There's a standing ponding swamp. That goes through a culvert under the road, under Hunt Hill Road, onto my property. So when it rains or in the spring, last summer, we had standing water all summer. We had a pond because of all the rain. This summer, because of the drought, we were dry most of the summer, but spring was very wet. And it's just a lot of water that passes through our property, and it's immediately off the right of my driveway.
So instead of sitting.
Hang on, please, let her
Okay,
speak.
Yeah,
okay?
where we do have erosion off, we have a garage, a two-car garage off the side of the house. It's not connected to the house, separate. And the back of the garage is up against that swamp that's on a hill where we're trying to keep it filled in because the erosion is always a problem. And then when we heard that they may put a driveway in, we followed the water and it goes right through, a lot of water in the spring goes right through where they want to put a proposed driveway.
Okay,
So, I'm just here to make sure that
there's a study done to make sure that it's done properly, so that we don't have flooding.
Just before you walked in, when you talked about an engineer that you have
Right,
hired.
and by putting something there that's, gonna allow it to flow through, you might not have the standing water on your property because it's gonna move. You know what I mean? It's
I
gonna,
would
it's
love
gonna
that.
move through into the.
So it doesn't
state
move
ground.
now because it's going downhill. It's all downhill.
So you're just making sure that in fact, where your concern is that people pay attention to if you do put a road in there, to put some sort of a culvert in there to
Yes.
allow the drainage, or proper
That's it.
size culvert.
That's the whole thing.
But Mark, let me ask Marty, because he's more of a
He's our
subject matter expert on it. Marty, how would you handle this in this case? I mean, let me just back up and ask the question again. Do you still have the engineer employed, and are they aware of what your abutters or your neighbors are talking
We
about?
haven't had them come out yet because we wanted to make sure this passed yet, so
Yeah,
once he comes out, we'll be able to be like, okay, yeah, this is wetlands, like, we don't even know where we could build until he comes out and evaluates everything. So we're just seeing if that's like an option.
and Marty, worst case scenario, I'm asking you. Worst case scenario, they go ahead and they build this driveway, and they don't put the culvert in the right place, and they start to dam up onto the abutter's property. Isn't that something legally that the abutter could mitigate and try to get them fixed if it were done correctly, or is it not?
I would think so. I mean, I'm not illegal.
No, I'm just saying, in your opinion, when you put driveways in, how do they determine where the culverts go?
It's pretty common sense. Water runs downhill and you
Yep.
put the culvert in the lowest point.
Right. That seems pretty straightforward, right?
And if you were in doubt, you go with the same size as the culvert they're talking about going under the road.
Yeah.
I have a follow-up question. You mentioned the word study that you wanted done. Would and terminology may be different than official study. As a contractor, would you automatically have reviewed, studied, and taken care of their concerns before you even made the definitive action?
It's not a normal procedure to hire a wetlands study or a survey like they're talking about.
But would the contractor automatically do, whether it was called an official study, do the research needed to know that nothing would go amiss? Wouldn't that be part of what a contractor would do or not?
That would be their normal.
So this would be a civil engineer that you hired? Right. So,
If you got a civil engineer involved, they have all the technology to do. what
Deal with drainage.
They want to, they want what they're concerned about.
I pause when I say, when I hear environmental study, because that could mean a lot of very expensive things.
And it could be a legal term too.
Yeah.
Environmental study could have significance in that particular wording.
In my opinion, I'm just gonna speak out loud and thinking out loud is, it strikes me as you've hired, or you're going to hire a civil engineer, and this would be something that they would normally deal with.
Correct.
Right.
With the
I see.
the Conservation Commission, would they be able to make a recommendation, not about
No, they're not, this would then go to the planning board.
Davis, like look at sites and stuff?
Yeah, but that's usually beforehand. If they had an engineering study, the planning board, the Conservation Commission, as a courtesy, would look at it and give us their opinion prior to the hearing. After the fact, I think if there are gonna be any requirements going forward, they would come from the planning board. So I think that's gonna be your next hurdle. And I think they're gonna have your interest in mind as well here, okay?
So this water does go down to the state land, goes down to the conservation, that's state. Isn't it
Yeah.
state land? I don't think it's not town conservation.
No, it's a state property.
It's a state property, but this is really, it's close to that. It goes right down into that, flows right into that.
Yeah.
But if you were to walk there today, you wouldn't, it does have some water in it today, but it's not overflowing. If we get an inch rain, we have a pond, we have water. And I don't know, my husband goes out several times a year to unclog the culvert. It needs maintenance. These are woodland culverts, both sides of the road, of Hunt Hill Road. And it's a lot of water. It's just a lot of water. But you could go when we're in a drought and there's no water.
But we don't expect the people that are putting in the driveway to take care of the culvert
Right.
on Gift Road.
No, but are they gonna maintain their culverts so that we don't have a flood? It's a thing. It's a real concern. There's a lot of water.
Yeah,
And we know what it takes to maintain our culvert with many cleanouts a year. We get our boots on up to here and go down, and my husband sometimes has to take the chainsaw and clear away the brush. It's a lot of maintenance
yeah,
because it's a lot of water and it's bringing leaves and brush and everything from the pond area across the street.
I understand, yeah, I understand your concern as
This
well.
was all designed, across the street with this culvert to flow down the hill. Hunt Hill is a hill, and it does flow down. So it goes right through that right side of my property, and we're just making sure that 5 years from now, I don't have to take them to big court because the water's going over my driveway.
I understand.
I mean,
It's
this is the
better
time
to
to
catch it
say
now,
something.
and I think we're hearing from your butter that they're going to deal with this appropriately through the use of a civil engineer. Now, whether or not that person does his job accurately or not, Marty, you give me again,
One thing we gotta understand though, is they're not gonna dry out your water problem. They're gonna just make sure the water continues downhill.
Right,
It's
exactly.
not their responsibility to
I
dry
would
your.
expect it to be.
right, but you just don't want this to create a problem on your property.
Down the road.
That's
you know.
what we're hearing.
Yeah.
And I think,
Or maybe the next owners after Kim, or, who knows?
Yeah.
It's just, this is the time to speak up,
yeah, I think what we heard is the fact that they're using a civil engineer.
Yeah.
And I hope that this will be taken into account.
That was your provision.
I don't, I thought about that, I don't know if you would write that in there.
This is just what's being discussed as common procedure.
I think you're right, Mark. That's the right word for it. It's a normal process for a civil engineer to look at these details and contours and determine what size culverts they're gonna need for the drainage.
Right, and that'll help the water
Yeah.
pass through. And then across the street's problem what she's having, I mean, that's not on us. So if
I
she
agree.
keeps filling up there, then she's got a problem with
Right.
the town, with the street.
I
There,
think that's common.
yeah, my road isn't gonna stop the street problem. You know what I mean?
It's not cause and effect.
All
There's
right.
no problem yet, there's no problem.
Right.
There's, right now, there's no problem.
Well, I think you mentioned that you were up to your
We are,
eye
no, we have to,
water.
because
And
that's
that may still be the
Yes,
case,
yes.
okay, but it
Oh,
won't,
no,
it won't be because of the driveway. It's happened
no, it's because I'm
periodically
responsible.
over the
No,
past, right?
it's just because I'm responsible to go out and maintain the culvert, and so is Rick Romano. He maintains his end of it,
Sure,
but this was all designed as, we're on a hill, and Rick Romano owns a hill, all of his water has to go somewhere. It's just nature,
Yeah.
it comes down the hill, comes down Hunt Hill Road.
But they're not the cause.
No, I'm not saying they are,
I know, so if they're not the cause, they can't be responsible for it.
I'm not saying they are responsible for
Okay.
it. I'm just saying that if there's gonna be a change to the landscape,
well, did they consider
that
this?
I wanna
Right.
make sure that
Of course,
it's.
of course.
And do you agree with
Totally
the fact that they're
understand.
using a civil engineer?
Yes.
Yes,
Most likely
wonderful.
will be considered,
Yeah.
Is that making you feel more comfortable?
It does, but if a
Okay.
civil engineer goes out there when it's dry, how is he to know that it's a river 4 months out of the year? But if he's good, he'll know, right?
Yeah, I would assume.
Right now, it's all in the leaves, I've got pictures of springtime water.
We it, and it's damp, it's muddy, you really can't walk through it. 'Cause we went when we had the dry summer, it hardly rained at all. And when we were looking where the main road, where the part of it's paved and it comes down, we walked it to where she wants to build, let's see if he says that's a good spot. And it was just muck, like, it wasn't, it was just muck and big trees laying in it.
Right, all the trees are falling over it, it's all frozen.
So it's not a huge spread, because we walked around it and then it's dry all the way back. So it's just this little section
I guess that's where your water's coming into.
Yeah, it is.
It's small section, and once you pass this, we walk around like that, and the rest is dry as can be.
Okay, thank
So
you.
it's a teeny section.
No, is that it for your concerns as an abutter?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay.
I just want to go on the record as saying, you know,
I want to make sure that you're okay with the fact that they're using a civil engineer.
yeah.
And that should be a
Absolutely.
lot better than someone just throwing in straw, right?
That's exactly.
Yeah, okay. So you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want everyone to please sign in. what they take off.
This is for the meeting minutes as we
Yeah.
go out. Thank you. It helps me out a lot. Okay, we have a motion. Any other questions, shall I say, before we have a motion to go back into deliberation? Nothing. We have a motion to go back into deliberation.
I will return to deliberation.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, where were we before? I think we had said, oh, let me ask again so that we capture it all. Well, let's just make real sure. Do we have any other questions? Are there any other comments while we deliberate? I want to bring something up. You're good to go. Everybody else? Marty? Okay. Okay. So we make a motion?
Yeah.
We're in deliberation.
So you're looking for a motion?
Yeah.
I move we approve the variance because it meets the requirements and addresses the concerns of others.
Written.
As written.
So we don't have to go through the five criteria? Is that what you-
That is what I'm suggesting.
We have a second.
I'll second that.
Who seconded? Okay, for us, seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 5-0. Okay, it's yours. Now, remember, the last time you were here, we warned you to wait 30 days before you do it. You still have to go to final board and all that. Any, your abutters or other abutters can have a decision, and they have 30 days to appeal this.
Okay.
And they'll come back to us with their concerns, okay? So just be aware.
Okay,
But congratulations.
all right, thank you.
All right, Cindy.
Mark, you put in rent? And, so, you'll know to do it right.
Drive safely.
Thank you. I know, it's a long.
What, like, so say, like, how she already had, like, issues with the other culverts. How, like, what makes, so say 5 years down the road, she's having issues with that culvert, how is it gonna be determined that she's gonna?
I don't know. That's here, that's kind of.
Stuff.
That's a lawyer.
Yeah, I know, it's like,
It's beyond my skill set.
Yeah, no, sorry. You're not being rude.
thank you, have a good night.
Thank you.
Stay calm.
All right, let's
Yeah.
move on here, okay? We'll make this quick if everybody else is ready. Approval of the October 28, 2025 meeting minutes. If everybody had a chance to peruse through them, and do we have any comments or any corrections? As typical, I'd like to not have the opening statement that the chair makes included in the meeting minutes. We just dump those out, that'd be great. We don't usually put them in, I mean, it's okay if we do it, I mean, it's something that I say.
Just in case you forget.
Yes, I forget, hard time reading, they don't flow right, it's different than just speaking openly to the audience, to how what to expect, so it's kind of a little bit back, okay. Do we have a motion to approve? Is everybody ready? What do you want?
Motion to approve.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and then, I think that's it. There's one other thing here, and we have a note from Victoria Sanderson, and I want to bring this to the board. Basically, what she's saying is the planning board subcommittee backlots and related zoning issues that met in 2025. Right, as it says. We'd like to formally invite ongoing participation from the following boards in our subcommittee meetings. One member from the Conservation Commission, one member from the zoning boards, one ex officio member from the Board of Selectmen. And their knowledge and perspective will be very valuable as we continue to inventory existing backlots, study potential zoning amendments, and develop recommendations for the full planning board. Please reach out to chairs, administrators in the Conservation Commission, Zoning Board of Adjustment, Board of Selectmen, and their extended, basic standing invitation to sit in on, it looks like a number of meetings that start on Tuesday, December 9th, and continue there on the second Tuesday of each month till further notice. Just my 2 cents, my concern is that whatever amendments they make to backlots, I don't think it's wise to have any member from the zoning board sitting in on those.
That's exactly what I thought, where they talk about potential of the new amendment, I think, conflict.
It will be, someone comes in and doesn't agree with the decision that they made when they came, and we sat in on this, then
We can't be part of it.
that's my concern. Does everybody agree with that?
I'm with you.
Yeah, Marty would.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'll do is I'll respond to this respectfully that we're just going, and I'll explain why.
Poses potential conflict.
Right, there is a potential conflict of interest, but it does concern me that their planning boards addressing backlots. You know, what's this doing now? I think, well, I think we can guess. But with all that said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate your time.
We're on,
Well, we're going after backlot.
That's what I told my wife, it's like this town, it's, you know.
Yeah.
And it goes to minimum.
I didn't think it needed to be.
That's what the target is.
I agree.
We're on.